Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of the Legendary Wizards podcast, a special presentation of the Windsor Wizards broadcast network. I'm your host, Mike Thompson, and today we're traveling through time. Today's episode is titled A Century Apart, and we're diving into a story 100 years in the making. Let's rewind to the year 1924, when Windsor was a small but proud Volga-Deutsch farming town nestled in the heart of northern Colorado. There were no smartphones, no internet, and definitely no live stream games. But there was basketball, and it was already beginning to shape the heart of this community. That year, the Windsor Bulldogs did something incredible. They won the Colorado State Basketball Championship for the second year in a row. In wool uniforms and with leather lace balls, the Bulldogs hustled through a gritty, defense-first style of play that kept scores low and tension high. Games might end 23-18, but they were packed with passion and pride. Imagine playing in a tiny gym with creaky floors, no three-point line, and barely any backboard. These players represented more than just a team. They were the face of a town that valued hard work, discipline, and togetherness. The state title in 1924 became a badge of honor, woven into the very fabric of Windsor High School history. Much has been said about this team as they would go on to win the national championship in Chicago later that year. It's from that team and their style of play where the Bulldogs would be reborn as the Wizards. From then on, all of the sports teams would adopt the Wizard as their mascot. Since the 1924 season, the boys have had a lot of success, but they have yet to win the big one. In fact, the Wizards would make it to the state championship 4 times, but would be 4 times unlucky, losing in 1998, 2003, 2011, and 2024. For our story, we're not going to retell the story of 1924, or focus on the times that the Wizards did not get the job done. Instead, we are going to focus on the team that finally got over the hump, for the first time in over a century. Now let's jump forward 100 years. It's 2025 and the Windsor Wizards are on the rise once again. The boys are in the Denver Coliseum, a place where a year earlier they fell in the state championship game to Mesa Ridge. That was last year. This year they find themselves against the Green Mountain Rams. And this time, when the clock hits 0 and the horn sounds, they are champions of the state of Colorado. The triumph, joy, and jubilation filled the Coliseum as the team cut down the nets and cemented their place in history. The 2025 team made waves across the state. They were undefeated in conference play, dominant on defense, and led by a lineup that had fans packing Reg Fiegel Gymnasium. At the heart of the team was 5A Player of the Year Madden Smiley, dropping over 20 points a game. Alongside him, John Bachhaus, Tedesse Keywork, and Brady Kingsley rounded out a roster that plays with chemistry and intensity. Under the leadership of 5A Coach of the Year coach Jon Rakiecki, this team found the balance between grit and finesse. They've already blown out top rivals, and their redeeming defeat of Mesa Ridge to get to the title game was one for the ages. The Wizards play in a modern gym with state-of-the-art equipment, digital scoreboards, and stream their home games on this broadcast network. Quite a change from 1924. We had a chance to speak with Coach Jon Rakiecki. Coach Rakiecki, thank you for joining us today. I'm just going to talk to you about the 2025 state championship basketball team. So, Coach, first off, please tell me what you remember about that state championship game and the environment at the Coliseum that night.
It was electric. It was awesome. Both communities, Green Mountain and Windsor, showed up. It was I remember it being a back and forth game, and first half was tight, second half was tight till the end. But I think I just remember the last 5 or 6 seconds of the game when we knew we were going to win, and the ball just got thrown up in the air, and the team just stormed the floor. That was a memory that I'll have forever. You work so hard for so many years, and it finally happens is pretty rewarding.
Well, you mentioned the electricity. Like, even watching the broadcast, you can almost feel it oozing through the screen at that point. Just seemed like a really fun environment.
They were booing us for a while because we were holding for the last shot, and they thought we were stalling, and the boos were pretty loud, and then we're countering, and it was a great environment to play in.
Awesome. So, big thing with this podcast is we talk about history and talk about legacy. Speaking to basketball's history, how do you motivate your players to respect the program's long history while staying focused on the present?
In the state of Colorado, we're growing so much, right? Like most schools, you look around, our general area, Severance is new, Timnath is new, Greeley West just got remodeled, Roosevelt is remodeled, Fossil is remodeled. So all the schools don't have haven't been around, it seems, as long as we have, and we try to teach them and give them some awareness about our history at Windsor High School. All of our kids in our program know about the national championship team. They knew the last time we won a state championship. I know I've actually used your website to. I've actually taught our student athletes about that team, the 1924 team, and the coach, and kind of the background, the immigration background, and the one kid that drowned. That kind of seemed to be a culminating event and brought the team together. But so I mean, you just try to educate the kids about the history of our program, but moving forward, we were our own team, right? We have our own identity. We're nothing like the 1924 team, but they understand that Windsor High School has been around a long time, and we have a proud history and tradition of academics and sports here, and we have a high standard to hold ourselves to.
Perfect. And actually, that leads right into my next question. If you could take your 2025 squad back to 1924, what do you think would shock them the most about basketball back then, or the environments, or the old pit?
I don't know. I mean, I think the 1924 team would probably be surprised that the speed of the game has dramatically increased. I think the level of athleticism is probably a little different than back in the day. I think they would struggle with those two things, that athleticism and the speed is changed, and they'd wonder what the 3-point line is. They would see Madden dunk and wonder what that is. But that would be a clash of times for sure. That would be an interesting thing to see.
So the title of this episode is A Century Apart. So let's think to the future now in legacy. What lessons from this season would you hope get remembered 100 years from now?
Well, I mean, I think one of the lessons that I've taken away from this season, and I think my players would probably agree with, is like winning a championship is really, really hard. You could have super talented team, you could have superior athleticism, and which was not the case, I don't think, this year. But like, we've had a lot of really good teams. Like, I don't think this year's team was I've been here 10 years. I don't think this year's team was the most talented team that we've had, that I've coached, and it's really, really hard to win a state championship, and I think that's evident in that a century went by, before we've had one. But I think that's one of the biggest lessons. I also think the Windsor community, the small little town, and the ability of a group to kind of put aside their ego to work towards a common cause is hopefully something that 100 years from now they talk about this team. They were able to Windsor's, we're the underdog everywhere we go. We're playing bigger schools, taller schools, more athletic schools, and so I think just that, and I think that's a Windsor quality, right? 100 years from now, I don't know if we'll be the little underdog on it anymore, but I think that certainly is great things can happen when egos are put aside and you just play for the person next to you, and we were able to shatter that long streak of not doing it.
I've got one more question that's not on my list because I just got to know. One of the more famous things with Coach Ryan was his rules, especially the diets on game day, including
prune juice
and stale bread. So I'm curious, pregame, were you handing out the day-old bread and the prune juice to the guys?
We actually have that list of rules hung up in our locker room. We hung them up 2 years ago, and they've just stayed up, so the kids know about them. Day of, we have a snack bin in our locker room, which is very popular. We go to Sam's Club or Costco and just buy single serving granola bars and almonds and it's things like that. So kids enjoy grabbing a snack before practice. We typically, like, if we're playing at the Coliseum, we'll have like a pregame meal on the bus, sandwich, and then actually funny story. At the Coliseum, it's not really surrounded by like restaurants.
Yeah.
It's kind of an isolated place, even though it's in the middle of Denver. And so like for the 3 games that we won down there this year and last year, we got the same thing after the game, which was Pizza Hut pizza, and the kids were getting sick of it on the 3rd day. The same thing, pizza. But that's really the only thing, unless we wanted to stop on our way home, which nobody wanted to do. But yeah, pizza, snack bin, Subway sandwich or something like that before the game.
So in 100 years, that'll be the Coach Rakiecki rules: is post-game Pizza Hut pizza. It's got to be Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut, snack bin, and a sandwich before the game.
All right. Well, Coach Jon Rakiecki, congratulations again, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's take a minute to think about life in 1924. In that year, Calvin Coolidge was president. The price of a dozen eggs was 44 cents, and a gallon of gas was between 13 and 25 cents. Alaska and Hawaii would not become states for another 35 years. The very first Winter Olympics took place in France, and Windsor was an agricultural hub with sugar beet farming driving the local economy. The population was something between 1,200 and 1,800 people. To put that number in perspective, the enrollment of Windsor High School is just under 1,200 students now. Windsor's current population is around 44,000. In 1924, most students walked to school. They used chalk slates in class. Families listened to baseball on the radio and read the evening paper for scores. The Model T Ford cost $265. Now, it's 2025. Windsor High School has around 1,200 students, a robotics lab, digital learning platforms, and has had an esports team. Students submit their homework online, and players can watch and share their highlights on their phones. But throughout all the change, one thing remains: school spirit. Game nights still matter, pride still runs deep, and the name on the jersey still says Windsor. So what does all of this mean? It means that 100 years after the Bulldogs brought Windsor a title, the 2025 Wizards have made history again. Legacy isn't just about wins, it's about community. It's about believing in something bigger than yourself. A lot has changed in the game of basketball in 100 years, but much of it has stayed the same. A group of players has to overcome their own unique adversity, with repetition and grit, better their abilities to play the game. A coach rallies them together to accomplish their goals, and despite setbacks, give them the tools necessary to succeed. Another school plays Windsor, and the Wizards win the day. The Bulldogs of 1924 couldn't have imagined the world we live in now, and maybe we can't imagine what basketball in 21-25 will look like, but we can be part of the story being written today. So whether you're a student, a fan, or an alum, take a moment to celebrate where we've come from and where we're going. Thanks for joining me on this trip through time, from Bulldogs to Wizards, from 1924 to 2025, a century apart. We are Windsor. Until next time, be legendary, Wizards.